Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of The Binding of Isaac Repentance, and today we're gonna be playing with a new character called Bethany. This is her with the pigtails, very cute. She has a few interesting mechanics, and there was a patch, so there's a ton of things to talk about. But first, oh, there's a library. I haven't seen one of those in a while, in real life and in the game actually. So that's a nice sight. I like libraries. I think they're a great fountain of knowledge. If you're interested in reading something, they usually have a book for that. So they're good in many aspects. So patch notes. Maybe let's start with the most contentious subject, and then let's maybe go into Bethany. Maybe should I start with Bethany? Let's start with Bethany, just because so you know what's going on the screen if you're not familiar with this character. Basically, Bethany is a character which carries a very special item with her called the Book of Virtues, and she also has a special mechanic in terms of how her spirit hearts are processed. Maybe let's start with the spirit hearts. Essentially, she can pick up spirit hearts or black hearts. Oh, you little bugger. Quad shot? Oh, that's exciting. So yeah, she can pick up. I haven't seen quad shot in a while, and instead of reacting loudly, I would just like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. The Bible is temporary flight. I don't like it. I think this is much better, and I already have bookworm, of course, because I have three little booklets. So that's pretty sick. So yeah, spirit hearts. I can't pick up spirit hearts. Essentially. Oh, so maybe the Bible would be better, considering the Book of Revelations gives me spirit hearts. But what I do get with Spirit Heart is actually soul charges, and that's essentially a stockpile for active item charges. So in effect, that just means I can use my soul hearts to use my active items, which is pretty solid. It's a pretty good mechanic. But the real power of Bethany comes from the fact that the Book of Virtues stacks on top of whichever item you already pick up. So if you see I pick up the Bible, for example, it goes on top of the Book of Virtues. So anytime I use an active item, I actually get a little flame orbiting me, and that's just kind of amazing, isn't it? And the little flames disappear if they're hit by enemies or by enemy tiers. And I gain them back when I use active items. So it's actually in my best interest to use my active items as much as possible, which means it's in my best interest to use them basically any opportunity I have, even if it's just for picking up an active item, using it, and putting it back down again. And that's something I realize only now. So that's a nice little mechanic that you can do to get the most out of Bethany's little spirit heart mechanic. And also it means that we probably prefer active items which have less of a charge. So a 6-room charge with Book of Revelations, obviously I don't think it's as good because you don't get the protection, and Book of Revelations is basically only good for the fact that you get spirit hearts, which give you protection. But in this case, that's not the case with Bethany, so there's nothing much we can do about it. So I just decided to take the Bible because at least it gives us flight, which means maybe we're going to be able to navigate some rooms a little bit better. It has less than a 6-room charge, which means we can use it a little bit more frequently, and if we get to Mom with it, we can just use it to instantly delete Mom out of the face of this earth. So that's Bethany. She's a nice little interesting character. I think she does a lot of good, and they did a great job with her. So since yesterday I only played one run actually, and that was with Eve, and ended up losing because I'm bad at this game. And then I played a lot of read mode. I did try to do one run with Bethany, but then I realized she's way too interesting to not be showcased. So I only played like, I don't know, 2 minutes with her. and even in those 2 minutes, and now I'm seeing that every time you pick up a different active items, the sprite and the color of your little hearts or the fires that orbit you actually change, which is so cool, because you see that there's like a little cross because I have the Bible, and that wasn't there before. so it's just actually amazing. And from my understanding, you can just keep stacking these little flames around you, and you can have a whole gamut of colors and a whole gamut of little fires which shoot at enemies and block bullets for you. So it's just very cool. She's just a very cool character and quite unique in a lot of regards. I do have problem with some characters because they don't feel maybe as unique as some of the others. But Bethany, definitely not guilty of not being unique in that regard. And also quite an interesting little mechanic, which I think changes the way you play the game, which is what I think a character should strive for. Change the internal mechanics or the internal meta. So I feel like immediately Bethany has her own way of playing, even if it is just... So wait, does this always work because I always have a charge ready? Because see, that's another little thing which just makes it so much better, and I feel like that's the case. As long as I have soul charges, which means I can use my active item with spirit hearts, the light bulb is just going to be activated, and that's amazing. So if you're not aware of what the light bulb that I just picked up does, it's a trinket which gives you extra stats if your item is fully charged. So in most cases, obviously what you would want to do is get a low charge active item, because then you could basically make it be as active as you want. In this case though, we don't even need to do that. We can just keep using our active item without suffering any penalty for it, because we have the soul charges, and that's amazing. So now we're gonna pick up PJs, and it's gonna give us more spirit hearts, of course more soul charges. You can see them on the left. And the fact we got Angel Deal, wait a second, so it's... Oh, maybe it's because of the Bible. That's it. That must be it. So Eternal Heart, I can use it once, but I think Seraphim is just going to be a bit more useful in general. Trisagion, okay, perfect. I don't know how we unlocked it, but we did. I'm glad for that. And we're bombing. This is amazing. This is, so far we're in the makings of a good run. I feel like Bethany is very well suited for something like boss rush. We're on pace. We need to be a little bit faster if we want to make it. I won't try. I still won't try to make boss rush every single time, just because I feel that's maybe not the most important thing right now. I'm just still experiencing them. I still haven't unlocked Shoal or the Cathedral, so really, I'm in no rush. Like I said, I did play a lot of greed mode. Maybe I said that in my previous attempt at the recording. But yeah, I did play a lot of greed mode. It was quite fun. I enjoyed myself. I'm just trying to get through the drudgery of playing greed mode. Not that I don't think it's fun, but there's a lot of unlocks which I would like to have in regular mode as well. So I'm just trying to get through it as fast as possible. Not necessarily even beat it with all characters, because I want to leave something for later. Obviously, I just want to, you know, have some buffering. I do want to. Sometimes, you know, you're just tired of regular Isaac and you just want to play greed mode. Get a broken active item and just break the game in always in all ways possible. I had a great run with the Sprinkler in Azazel yesterday. I just had this wall of brimstones which just destroyed everything in its wake. It was freaking great, dude. So yeah, but I'm trying to get through it, and then I think I will. Well, I will. What I was trying to say is that I'm gonna focus more on actually the regular game and try to get to that late game content, which I think should be doable within a week, if not earlier, and that's about the time frame I have to record these videos every day. I thought I was flying because of the Bible. Well, that's completely my bad. Okay, let's try to get a penny. See, won't see this anywhere else. What bravery! It's actually not that hard to do once you get used to it. So another piece of news that I wanted to talk about was the patch, the update. So the game got updated just today, actually, I think, or maybe it was yesterday if you're from America. I don't know, but it got updated very recently from making this video, and they... Oh well, I didn't see it there. He jumped into my fire and destroyed it. Oof. Such rudeness. So, like, for example, the hourglass, I just use it. I get a little hourglass flying around me. So they just did do a special little flame effect for every single active item, didn't they? These people are insane. That's such an insane amount of work for what is a minor thing in the grand scheme of things. And I'm so happy for it. That's actually amazing. So yeah, the patch, the update. You know what? I'll leave it for after the boss. Let's leave it on a bit of a commercial break, and then we're gonna talk about it when we get to the next floor. I wanna see what we're dealing with here. Okay, nice. I have the pennies. Okay, so this fella, he just gives you active item charges, right? And actually, this is something that I'm up for, because that means that I can basically just use my... Yeah. I'm gonna use this as much as possible. Wait, is this the maximum limit? I have 7 right now, right? I have 7 right now. Please give me one more. I'm testing this out. Thanks, brother. Wait, so did I get another one? I didn't. Okay, so this is just the maximum apparently. Which totally fair. It already feels really strong without being broken. And it's kind of nice that you're able to get back to this maximum point rather easily, because 7 doesn't feel like a ton of charges to get. So it's nice in that regard. A tier upgrade with quad shot. Excellent, because of the bulb we have damage. So really just an excellent run so far. Nothing to complain about. And again, I did say I'll try to make boss rush, but then I'm like spending 3 minutes trying to get charges. So yeah, I'm a bit of a hypocrite. That's fine. Or a little bit of a hypocrite inside of us. Okay, so yeah, I was talking about the patches and the update. So yeah, not too long ago, there was a long-promised update about... well, not a long-promised, I guess. It was promised yesterday. But they already patched it, which is exciting. And they changed... they actually buffed hard mode a bit, so they made it a little bit easier. And they did it in 2 ways. So the first way is that they made spirit hearts, or tinted rocks, actually, more frequent to spawn. So they lowered the chance of... Oh, Bambo. Oh, Bambo want coin. I'll give you all the pennies, my friend. Nice. Okay, so that's an exciting get. So they made it so the tinted rocks are more frequent again in hard mode, which is, I think, a good change. Mainly because tinted rocks are just an exciting mechanic to get. And every time... And I did feel that they were less frequent and more rare, which feels especially bad because most tinted rocks aren't really good, right? You get excited if you get something like small rock, but if you just get a spirit heart or even bombs or something like that, it just doesn't feel that rewarding, I guess. So I feel like buffing them a little bit so you can get maybe 1 every floor or maybe 1 every other floor or something like that. That feels much more balanced, especially combined with the fact that you're probably gonna miss some. And just more exciting, I guess, in general, based on their strength. And it's always nice when you get to a tinted rock and you're like, oh, I saw this, and then you bomb it and then you get something cool out of it. So I approve that change a lot. And they feel a little bit more frequent. I only did 1 run actually, but they do feel much better. I should... Oh, there's no reason for me to use the active item, is there? Because I don't get more flames, yeah. Unless I'm trying to. Right, you can just stand under that, I remember. So yeah, that was the one change, which is very good. And the other change was... So what they made, what was the most contentious change, I think, in Repentance, was the fact that they nerfed shops in hard mode, which... So basically when you donate to the donation machine in the shop, you actually increase your chances, or rather, I'll tell you how it used to be. Why am I picking up money? You need it more than I do, friend. Black Candle, I'll always take this item, because I hate curses. 15 cents for no curses for the rest of the run is probably the best deal you're gonna get in the market, and I have no qualms about picking it up. Yeah, so in Afterbirth Plus, or in all previous iterations of Isaacs actually, what happened when you donated money to the donation machine, you actually leveled up your shop, which just means that there were more items on sale and more consumables, and there's more things that you could get. I guess I'm not too big of a fan of this, but it just means that I can actually skip it and guarantee my Angel Duel chance, I think. That's perfect. I keep getting sidetracked. I'm so sorry. This is just how my brain operates. I just I'll remember. I promise. So the shops, yeah, of course. So yeah, you upgraded it with the donation machine, the shops, and then what ended up happening was that basically had more things to buy as you upgraded the shops. And then in Repentance they changed it so that it could randomly level down, so you could actually get a worse shop than what you upgraded it to. So for example, let's say there are 5 levels of shop upgrades. Back in the day, if you upgraded it to a certain point, there would always be level 5, and now sometimes they can be a lower level. And they increased that chance with the latest patch to 50%, so that... What was that? That was an amazing jump. Wow. So they increased it basically so that the chance of getting the best shop is 50% now, which seems like a high enough number that it won't screw you over way too often, but also low enough so that you can't reliably bank on getting the best shop. Which I think is what they were going for. I think the main problem with shops is the consistency, the fact that you know that you're gonna find something and you can kind of bank on that fact, which makes breaking much that more likely, right? Another, what was that? It was a nice little voice crack there. Another little change they made was that restock machines. So those are the machines which, I'm not going there. That's just not worth it unless I have flight. Okay, so that's very hard, completely unnecessary. I don't want it, especially because it's only essentially half of an item charge at this point. So I'll just skip right past it. So yeah, the restock machines. Those are the machines that you put money in or bomb to re-roll whatever is in the shop or, you know, any either item room you find. So that got buffed as well, so that it's more frequent now. I think that's right. I don't want to give you false information, but yeah, essentially now you can expect to find them in shops as well. So combined with the fact that it's more likely to find a max level shop, which means that it's more likely to get a shop which has more items in it. It means that the shops are going to be overall better now, and that's always a good thing. Okay, so the shield is just an excellent item. The wafer is also an excellent defensive item. I think I'm going to take the wafer. The other two, the candle, I think, just increases your tier rate. The miter just increases the chance for you to get soul hearts, and that's not something maybe that's necessarily really good for this character unless I have a really good active item, but so far that's not really the case, so I'll just pretend that I don't need those things. And a health upgrade, which I think is great. I never thought I'd get excited about a health upgrade, but here we are. I feel like our damage is really solid, especially with the fires and the seraphims, and Bumbo, especially when he levels up, he's gonna do some serious damage. But yeah, so the first balance patch and also not just the balance patch, there was also a lot of bug fixes, which obviously is, I think, to be expected. Nice piercing shots, always a get. Always nice to get this room as well, because then you can just do something like this. Use one bomb to open everything up. That was a less than lucrative payout, actually. That wasn't very exciting. So yeah, the first balance patch, it's the start of an era. Hopefully this is gonna appease some people. Hopefully it's gonna make the game feel a little bit better. Again, I'm not sure what the odds are. I still haven't uploaded the max shop. I don't know how it feels, but hopefully it feels good. Hopefully people are satisfied, and hopefully it does stop the wave of easy breaks with the shop, with the restock machine, because I honestly, that was one of the least fun mechanics in the game. Just basically the issue I find with game breaking mechanics is that if you're a player who tries to basically play the game as it was intended, then there's no reason not to not to break the game, essentially, right? And if it's so easy to do as it was in the previous iteration of the game, it just feels really bad to intentionally nerf yourself not to take advantage of those mechanics. It just doesn't feel like a pure way to play the game, I suppose. Because for me, at least, when a game is balanced, like for example Dark Souls is, then you basically the point there is to get to the end, right? Or to get through the bosses and do it in any way possible. Of course, how people interpret that is up to you. It's very personal. Okay, I think I will go. Oh wait, we're already here? I thought this was... Never mind, we're actually much faster than I thought. So I guess we are doing boss rush. Tractor beam with quad shot is actually insane, and the other items don't seem that good, so I'll actually take this. This is actually essentially just times 4 damage, isn't it? That's actually so good. And I have the High Priestess, if you need to destroy enemies really quickly, so that's also exciting. So yeah, I was talking about intentionally nerfing yourself. I need to be better about how I switch topics and not get myself let myself distracted. But sometimes there's so many cool things happening on the screen that I just can't help myself but to say something. it's a curse. It's a curse of excitement, of being excited and wanting to talk about things. Okay, come on. Little Horn, you're dealing me with a lot of painstaking... Okay, thank you. I want flight, so I can actually go over rocks. Maybe I had it before, I'm not sure. Oh, little hunt, nice. So the fact that they did change it, so at least it's harder, or at least I hope it's gonna be harder. It's harder to break the game, of course. I think that's a positive change, even if maybe some people found it fun to break the game really often. It really devalues the challenge, and it devalues, I think, the mechanics of the game. So how are you ever gonna be excited about... Not excited, but... How are you ever gonna be stoked about getting a good item? I have a little death. Wait, is he my friend? He is. Wait, I remember these items. This is something that was added in booster packs, right? Oh my god, he's so little. He's so cute. I keep getting sidetracked. I'm so sorry. It's just like so many cool things are happening at once. Okay, please do me a favor and just blast this guy into oblivion. Please, blast him. No! Please, blast him. Blast. Oh my god, you missed your chance to blast him. Disappointed. I'm disappointed. Frankly, I'm disappointed. I'm not gonna... Look, I'm just gonna blast you myself if you're not gonna help me do it. Okay, I didn't see you jump, which is completely my bad, because I was focusing on bloat. Usually when bloat is on the screen, he requires my full attention. Okay, so sights, we know how that works. You just need to sidestep them. Having a running commentary when you're in the middle of boss rush is, I've realized, much harder than I initially thought. Because there's a lot of things you need to dodge and focus on. So let me save my musings for after we defeat the hell out of these bosses, okay? Sounds like a good deal. So the fact that Bethany is stronger really is offset by the fact that you can get spirit hearts, right? Like, health is much more important. And I feel, again, like this is exactly what I'm talking about. When the game is easy to break, you lose out on the value of certain items like health upgrades and red hearts and just a ton of different mechanics. And obviously, I think a lot of that was also alleviated with Repentance, because they buffed off a lot of quite bad items. So again, just so far, I'm happy with where it stands, and I think the balance patch is a nice little change, and I think it ought to make the game more fun. So these are the contemporary events happening. We can now move on to some more anecdotal stuff. I actually don't have anything ready from the top of you, so let's just focus on destroying these bosses. I like the new music in Boss Rush. Did you listen? Are you listening to it? Are you hearing it? It's pretty banging. The fact I get red hearts is also exciting. I think that's something that might be nerfed when I unlock the achievement, which makes the game harder. Everything is harder, I think. Okay, so that was lame. We destroyed 3 out of my 7 hearts. This laser, the brimstone, that's something... I still don't know how to dodge that. Is it even possible? Is it even possible to dodge it? Sometimes it just feels like it's not. But this is, I think, another thing a lot of people get... So this is another thought I've been having not too long ago. But a lot of people have a lot of issues with taking damage in Isaac. Basically, if you take damage, it's seen as something bad. But you really do have a lot of buffer for taking damage in Isaac. You can take a lot of red heart damage, a lot of spirit heart damage. Of course, if you just don't continually walk into spikes for no reason. It is what I think a lot of people get hung on about, like maybe even necessary damage or unavoidable damage. Like, yeah, some damage is unavoidable, but the game, I think, compensates for that by the fact that you have a lot of hearts available. So a lot of health is readily available at every stage of the game. And maybe that's especially why shops felt bad. Nice, Bet's Fate. Cricket! Yes, 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 yes. Okay, now this is what we're calling a synergy. There's just a ton of tears flying around. Let's go. Makings of a good run. So even if there is some, like I said, guaranteed damage on the run, I think it's offset by the fact that the game makes it easily available to get the health. And especially now that shops were buffed a little bit, I think it should make it a little bit less frustrating to get hit. Especially if, again, tinted drugs are a bit more common, so you can just kind of rely on those for your health. So we'll see. And talking about tinted drugs, here it is. Don't pick up the tick. It's not a good item. Not for our current situation. I'll just use the Joker. Okay, this looks interesting, so I have to take it. Too spooky for me. Maybe I fear people if I look into them? If I stare into their eyes? Is that too spooky? Wow. So today I actually went into this episode expecting I'm gonna talk a lot of anecdotes about my time with the game. And it just ended up being a really long patch recap, which is maybe not the intended strategy there, but hey, it is what it is. At least the run is fun to look at. That's the worst, right? You have a bad commentary, you have a bad run. No, those days come, sadly. You know, we have to live through it. Every season, every show has a bad season, a bad episode. It is what it is. Not comparing myself to Breaking Bad or anything here, obviously, but I do think, coming back to Breaking Bad, right? I do think it's one of those shows which doesn't really have bad episodes. All episodes feel very intentional. Even The Fly, if you've seen it, if you know the general premise of Breaking Bad, I can just tell you it's not really a spoiler. But if you don't like it, just like skip 2 minutes ahead in the video. But basically, there's an episode, so we all know that Walter White is the protagonist and he cooks drugs. And then there's an episode where basically the entire episode is him trying to catch a fly, because he's a little bit obsessed with cleanliness. Life hasn't been treating well, so then he kind of projects those insecurities and frustrations on trying to catch a fly that's in the lab. And a lot of people consider that to be a bad episode, a boring episode, but you know, it has its purpose. It shows us the descent of this man into insanity to an extent, and I do think it's a nice little insight into the psyche of this genius criminal mastermind. So Breaking Bad, I think, doesn't really have bad episodes. Certainly some episodes are better than others, there's no question about that, but is there one episode which I feel like you can just completely cut out and delete? I don't think so. I actually don't think so. So another thing I'm noticing here when I'm playing Bethany, actually she has this mechanic where you can use the active item more with your spirit hearts, but there just hasn't been really a reason to use them. So basically I'm playing this game as if spirit hearts didn't exist. And it's still quite powerful, so I think it just goes to speak for the strength of her little flames around her. And to be fair, at the start I did put them down. I did think they were not as good, but they do appear to be very good. Especially if you can avoid getting hit and avoid getting them extinguished. It does feel a bit, well, held down is not a good one. Huh? I do think Isaac has a lot of mechanics where if you're good, you're gonna get rewarded for it. So it becomes exponentially or proportionally easier the better you are at the game, which maybe that's true for all games, but with Isaac especially feels like some mechanics are like that. So if you're good enough to get to boss rush, you're gonna get an additional item there. If you're good enough not to get hit, you're gonna get a devil deal. If you're good enough to, for example with Bethany, not to get hit, you're gonna have more damage output. So that's why I think it can especially feel frustrating for people who are maybe not as proficient at the game, or maybe a bit newer at the game. But yeah, this is exciting stuff, dude. Bethany is an excellent character. I'm enjoying every second of playing with her, and hopefully she made up for the mundanity of talking about patch notes if you're not really into the Isaac meta. Right, the Bible just instantly destroys her, and the fact that we can go to the cathedral here makes me excited, dude. We probably can't use our active item on Isaac to destroy him, but this will prolong what is otherwise an excellent run. I skipped that. Isaac Baby, I think that's what it's called. An unlock. And I'm still... Obviously, the Cathedral, a completely new environment, a completely new playground of things we can discover and explore here. Okay, maybe not this room, but the other ones, for sure. And I'm just gonna be excited to walk into it. I remember when the music changed, I think maybe in... Was it already in Rebirth? The new Cathedral team is actually fantastic. Well, by new I mean the one that's not in Flash Isaac. This one I think is so much more fitting. It's actually excellent. Wait, so they're not bosses on this floor anymore? Oh, there it is. The great thing about stockpiling soul charges is even if we get hit a bunch and lose all of them, we can just restock them for the final boss fight. What is this? What are these little dudes? And what are they shooting? They're carpet bombing me with flaming bones. Now that's a sentence I never thought I'd utter in my entire life, but here we are. Okay. These rooms, they're deceptively, they seem simple, but they do require quite a bit of focus, because every single enemy entity in the room is doing its own thing. You kind of need to focus on everything at once, and you kind of have to pick the best path to dodge it, so it's not simple, it's not simple. Here he is again. Has an appropriate amount of health for how he looks. And by that I mean a lot. I feel like something like Book of Shadows would be sick on Bethany. You could just have permanent... I keep taking your money, I'm so sorry, friend. Yeah, Book of Shadows just seems like it'd be good, because it would be essentially permanent shields whenever you need it. Like every time you walk into a hard room, you just pop it. You don't have to worry about it. And I feel like that's especially applicable on these harder floors, like the Cathedral, maybe the chest, maybe the Void even. Carpet bombing me with lasers? Okay. I mean, don't mind if I do. Okay, take it, take it. I won't take it. You deserve it. You need it more than I do. This is something I've thought about a lot when dealing, like if somebody tried to rob me at gunpoint. I'd just be like, dude, you need this money more than I do if you're willing to rob me. Which is maybe not a good approach. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Doesn't feel like it would... It feels like it would net you in a lot of trouble. But like, to an extent, that's true, right? Because if I was so desperate to need money and I was going out robbing, I would think that the people who are less desperate than me would not. I mean, obviously, that's not... a bulletproof argument, because you know some people are just good by nature and they can't imagine robbing people even if they're super poor, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like if I'm not in this desperate position or rather if someone is in that desperate position of wanting money so bad that they're robbing, it's just like, well, maybe you need this more money than I do in the first place, which is maybe I'm being a little bit too understanding of robbers, of people who decide that they should make their living by stealing other people's belongings. And I'm not defending it, obviously, not even close, because, like, get your own stuff. But you know, we also have to have some understanding for how these things arise in the first place due to our socio-economics, crisis, people not having enough money, you know, being underprivileged. You know, it's a whole thing. It's a hard subject to discuss. And I'm definitely not going to get to the bottom of it in the last 3 minutes of an Isaac video, so maybe let's not even try. Maybe let's wear away from that course before I embarrass myself. Nice little dodge. So yeah, the sound effects of Isaac, I friggin' love it. The lasers have a certain oomph to them, which they didn't before. Okay, Mambo, I love you, but you can't friggin' set up bombs for me. That's not cool. Okay. Okay, I get hit. Completely my fault there. But I think we have this in the bag, even with 3 red hearts. Perfect. You know what? I'm just gonna pop this a couple more times, just to feel satisfied with myself. Okay, that felt good. Now we can finish the round properly. So, thank you all for watching. It was a fun little episode. We discovered a new character. We talked about some important things. We talked about some less important things. And overall, I hope we had a fun time. So, see ya!